Chapter 11. The Third Eye. Before making a further analysis of this other methodology given by the mystics, let us briefly familiarize ourselves with some of the problems inherent in the process of going within the body via the use of attention. Immediately, we are confronted with the problem of how to lose awareness of this physical body, which is necessary in order to have the experience of what we are without it. Do we have to die? Does this physical body have to be destroyed to enable us to reach our inner self? If we must kill ourselves to get the knowledge of the self, we cannot be sure that we will, in fact, attain such knowledge. Therefore, we will need a methodology which will enable us to have the same experience of destroying this physical body, and yet not actually killing it. Hence the suggestion that we learn how to die while living. We have been told by mystics that if we die while living, we would automatically destroy all the chakras, and our attention will come immediately to the point behind our eyes, inside. When you withdraw your attention from the physical body and concentrate it behind the eyes, the process is the same as dying. You will become completely unaware of this physical body. Therefore, the mystics don't say destroy this physical body, simply lose awareness of it by concentrating your attention at the point behind the eyes. If we are able to become completely unaware of this physical body, and hence the world outside, and still remain aware of the inner self, then we can, in effect, experience dying while living, and experience life after death. Therefore, let us see what it is which causes us to be aware of this physical body in the first place. We discover, upon examination, that what makes us aware of this physical body seems to be the very fact that we can feel the body itself. Indeed, all our actions which establish a relationship with the world around us, which make us aware of this world, must take place through the agency of the physical body. Therefore, we are constantly aware of this physical body, and, as a result, come to identify ourselves with it. If we did not consciously attend to all the various things happening to the body, we would not be aware of it at all. If we did not put our attention into the sensory apparatus located in this body, not only would we lose awareness of this world, but we would also lose awareness of this physical body. We would become, literally speaking, dead. It is, in fact, the blocking of the sensory systems located in the physical body, the actual withdrawal of our attention from the events happening through this body, that constitutes an effective method of meditation. But those of us who practice meditation know that the total withdrawal of attention is not so easy in practice as it is in theory. Even if you are able to successfully withdraw your attention from the world by closing your eyes and ears, you will still remain conscious of the physical body. It is not as easy to sit still for 2 or 3 hours as it seems. There are all kinds of aches and pains. Sitting in meditation, you will eventually reach a point where it feels as if your legs are going to explode and that your bones are on fire. So please understand that it is not so easy to sit still for long periods of time necessary for effective withdrawal of attention. How, then, do we withdraw our attention from the physical body itself after we close our eyes and ears? The mystics' answer to this problem is that you must develop the capacity of staying at that place in the physical body where the conscious self resides. This place, the point from where all consciousness in the form of attention flows, is in the head, behind and between the two physical eyes. This point has often been called the third eye by many mystics, to distinguish it from the other two eyes. It is also sometimes called the eye focus or eye center. It is from this point in the physical body that our attention travels outside via the sensory system, and we become aware of the physical world and this physical body. Therefore, if we can successfully withdraw our scattered attention back to this point, we will, in effect, lose awareness of the world, as well as of the physical body itself. We will become aware of the inner self and the inner world. We are moving up to this focal point of consciousness every night when we sleep. It happens every night, and then we become unaware of the body and this world. The only problem is that we fail to hold our attention here and allow it to drop down to the throat center, where it then gets engulfed in a dream. Higher consciousness cannot be attained if the attention drops below the focal point at the eye center. To hold on to the focal point of consciousness behind the eyes and not go to sleep is the key to attaining higher consciousness. The key to higher consciousness is the ability to concentrate your attention upon your own self at this point, the eye center, behind the two physical eyes. If we slip into a sleep trance, we simply go into one of the lower chakras and will not experience a higher awareness or a higher consciousness. If we can maintain our wakefulness and still concentrate our attention upon ourselves, we will achieve a new experience, higher awareness. Once we are able to become unaware of the physical body, without taking any anesthesia, without being knocked on the head, but by our own sadhana, our own meditation, we discover that we possess immense energy and power of which we were unaware. This ability to concentrate attention on the self within, behind the eyes at the eye center, is not unique. It does not belong to only a few gifted people, but is available to each and every one of us. Of course, there are many distractions which come in the way. The most immediate problem that confronts us is that there is a process going on inside our heads called thinking that never seems to stop. Even when we close our eyes and ears, this thinking process, this thinking about the affairs of the world, our family and problems, continues to go on. In fact, scientists now believe that the thinking process never ceases. From birth to death, day or night, asleep or awake, conscious or unconscious, this thinking process never stops. This, then, is the most difficult problem in the initial stage. What is thinking? Thinking is essentially a stream of thoughts made up of words that defines, describes, and relates to some external experience of the physical self. Hence, whenever we think, we are in fact moving away from the eye center into phenomena. Therefore, thinking becomes self-defeating. But alas, thinking cannot be stopped. Now, how does the technology or methodology given by the mystics solve what seems to be an impossible dilemma? The mystics have devised a technique, a method called bland word repetition, to overcome this obstacle. By the repetition of a set of words collectively referred to as a mantra, they show their initiates how to pump these words into the thinking machine, which, in turn, pumps out the thoughts of the affairs of the world. Since the connotation of the words contained in the thoughts running through the mind always refers to some external experience of the physical self, the mystics show us how, by substituting into the thinking process words which have no outside connotation or reference, the outward flow of attention is stopped. The next obstacle blocking our way in the journey back to the eye center is the problem of visualization. You can go on repeating the mantra as fast and as loud as you like, but how can you stop the mind from seeing something? These mystics tell us that this problem can also be solved by adopting a method which they call contemplation. Just as we are able, by substitution, to choke out the externalizing effects of the thinking process, we can, in turn, overcome the obstacles that arise from the distractions of external visualization by selecting a form or symbol that pushes our attention in, not out. The mystics say that the best object to select for our contemplation is something, in our external experience, which itself is continuously and singularly involved in the process of self-realization. That object is called the Guru, or Master. Even in this external experience, if you go to this object, he will throw you back to yourself. His teachings will tell you to go back to the eye center. So even if, in the course of meditation, your attention travels away from the eye center to the visualization of this external form, you will again be pushed back inwardly. To block out this second category of obstructions to the withdrawal of attention, the visualizations of the mind, we put before our mind's eye the form of the Guru. This aspect of the mystic methodology is also sometimes called dhyan. But even if you are able to block out the thoughts of the thinking process in the mind by repetition of a mantra, and are able to also block out its visual distractions by contemplating on the form of the Guru, what about the sounds that we are hearing all the time? Scientists have now discovered that there is some sound going on in the external universe all the time. Therefore, we can never experience a moment of external silence. At any moment, anywhere and any place we go, even if you sit in a cave with your ears plugged, you will still hear some kind of external sound. If nothing else, you will hear your own breathing or your heart beating. How then do we overcome this final obstruction to concentration, which arises from the distractions of these external sounds? The principles of the method are once again the same. That is, we have to simply listen to a sound which is within, not outside. Just as there are sounds of other things, there is also a sound of the self. This sound is audible and can be heard when our attention is properly focused. There are 5 forms of this sound in every human being. The mystics have referred to it by various names in their writings. It is the word of the Bible, the kalma of the Holy Quran, the nad of the Vedas, the shabad or sound current, in the terminology of contemporary mysticism. So, by focusing our attention on this sound, we are able to overcome the last obstacle to withdrawal back to the focal point of consciousness behind the eyes. What happens when we are able to do all these things? When you withdraw your attention through meditation to the third eye center behind the 2 physical eyes, you will gradually become unaware of the extremities of the body. If you are able to sit for a sufficiently long period of time in the right posture for meditation and concentrate your attention at the point behind the eyes, after a while you will lose awareness of your feet. You won't feel them. Sometimes in the beginning of this practice, you have to open your eyes to look and see that they have not disappeared. You become completely unaware of them. A while later, the hands are gone. And if you are persistent and have the patience, you will then notice that your legs, arms, and so on also disappear from your field of awareness. When you lose awareness of them, then you will experience a very strange thing. The body awareness completely disappears, and you feel that you are just awareness alone, without any vehicle. When the attention is withdrawn from the bottom of the body, you have the strange sensation of floating in the air. You realize that it was only because you could feel, through attention, the ground on which you sit, that you have the experience of gravity, of being on the ground. The moment attention is withdrawn from the bottom of the torso, you discover that you are not sitting on the ground at all. You will have the feeling of being in mid-air. You will experience levitation. You will feel that, somehow or other, you have risen, but you are still in the body, which is still sitting there in the same place. If you continue withdrawing your attention further upwards, it eventually reaches the throat center. You will then become completely unconscious and unaware of the body, and the light coming from the third eye center floods you. Eventually, when you are able to fully complete the process of withdrawal of attention to the third eye center, you are able to see the gate, the 10th door, the door that leads into this temple of the Lord. Many yogis have preferred to travel along these chakras, as they have spent too many years and too much effort involved with the principles of energy. Therefore, they would rather awaken the energy centers one after the other. As a result, they are able to develop yogic and supernatural powers. But the highest mystics, those who are interested in journeys that go far beyond the entrance to the temple, have recommended that we need not waste our time going through each of these chakras. They say that we should practice the art of withdrawing the attention directly to the eye center. When the attention is withdrawn to the third eye center, it opens up into a region which is full of light and sound. The light and sound within us is so beautiful that it is impossible to describe it in words. The sound is like that of a big bell. Its peals are so loud and the music is so beautiful that anyone who has had this experience can never forget it. It is not just a sound, it is a power that pulls you. It is like a conscious being. It is like a friend. It is the source of consciousness. It is the sound which makes you conscious. And this entire episode takes place when you are able to withdraw your attention back to the eye center. It is what would happen if you died. Therefore, it is referred to by the mystics as the art of dying while living. When you die, the same thing happens, but then you are not able to come back and share this knowledge with anybody. But if you could die while still living in this body, then you would be able to describe the journey within. Therefore, we have to simulate this dying while still being alive through the use of the mystic methodology. What happens when you die? When a person is dying, you will notice that he becomes unconscious of the parts of his body. When a person is dying, the first experience is that of losing consciousness of the feet, hands, and so on. He is still able to talk, but does not know what has happened to his feet and hands. Then gradually, the person becomes unconscious of the whole body and no longer knows where he or she is. But he is still able to talk. The head is still there, and it is the last part of the physical body to drop out of awareness. When this happens, the person is said to have died. Then there is no life left. In the same way, if we can, that is, withdraw our attention from the body in the same manner, from the extremities up to the head, we can have the same experience of going within, the experience of life after death. All this can be accomplished by the use of attention. Human attention is the most wonderful gift that has been given to us. Whatever we place our attention on, that becomes real for us. In fact, the only things we are ever able to experience are those things on which we put our attention. If you put all your attention on this book, the rest of the room in which you are now sitting will simply disappear. When the attention is again unconcentrated, that is, scattered, you will again become aware of the rest of the room around you. Great marksmen who are able to hit the bullseye all the time have practiced the art of focusing attention to such an extent that they do not see anything else except the target they want to hit. If they allowed themselves to become aware of anything else, they would not hit the target. So they are trained to practice the art of concentration of attention in such a way that they do not see anything else. And whenever you concentrate your attention on something, you will automatically lose awareness of the other things going on around you. It is the use of attention in this manner which enables us to do this wonderful thing called dying while living. We are conscious of our hands and feet and this entire world simply because of the use of attention. Our attention is scattered throughout the body, and from there, via the organs of perceptions, the whole world comes into being. If we can imagine this head of ours as a room, and we are sitting in the center of it, and if we put all of our attention here, we will become completely unaware of our hands and feet, and gradually the rest of the physical body. The experience will be identical to the process of death. And when the attention is withdrawn up to the waist, you will have the sensation of flying. You will not know where you are, even whether you have a body or not. When the attention reaches the center behind the eyes, you will discover that you are separate from the body. You will see your own body separate from you. It is a tremendous experience. You will be able to see your physical body from the outside just like everybody else sees it. You can see your own physical body just sitting there. With your astral body, you are able to walk through walls. You can fly. You can have the same feelings of touching, tasting, smelling, seeing, and so on, while the physical body is still just sitting there. Then one wonders, why have I been calling it me? Who am I? I thought that was me. It is a strange and very frightening experience to see your body separate from you. The first sense that you will use will be that of sight. You will be able to see independently of the physical eyes, which are closed. Then you will discover that you are able to walk away and leave the body sitting there. It is as if you are stepping into a different world. This ability to use the sense perception without using the physical body is called astral travel. When this complete complex of sense perception moves away from the physical body and yet continues to function, you discover that you are able to touch, taste, smell, and so on with much greater clarity and scope. In this astral state, you move just as if you were walking with feet, but when you look, you will see that you really don't have any feet. When you start to run, you discover that you can run very, very fast, that you can move at a velocity greater than the velocity of light itself. What's more, you can run right through walls and everything else. It is a very strange but wonderful experience. If you want to see what is happening in the other room, you can just look intently and you can see what is going on. In the astral body, you will discover you have faculties which you never dreamt of. Anybody can do this. You can do it also by the simple method of using your attention to focus away from the physical experience and on to the point from where the attention flows. But there is one big problem. The problem is that when the attention rises above the throat, there is the experience of dying, real dying. One becomes afraid, and out of this fear pumps his attention back into the whole body. All of us are really afraid of dying, but we really do not realize how much until death actually comes. Therefore, when we are able to simulate the experience of death by withdrawing the attention to the eye center, we naturally become very frightened and start to panic. This may be the real thing. This fear comes because we really are dying. The soul really does separate from the body, although actually the physical body is not dead. We are merely shifting our focus of attention to a point where we can segregate it from the body. There are vital centers within the body that continue to support its life functions, while the astral body takes over as the vehicle of our conscious experience. At the eye center, we are able to segregate the astral body from the physical body, while its life remains sustained by these energy centers. Life remains in the physical body in the same way as it is maintained when we are in deep sleep or in a trance. Because of the fear that accompanies the experience of coming to the eye center, it is advised that you attempt this exercise only under the guidance of a trained teacher, one who is a master in this art and has himself made this journey many, many times. Then it becomes very safe, and once you have practiced it, you are able to leave the body and travel at will for as long as you like. You will discover that there are many different and new experiences available while in this astral state of being. One of the experiences available is the ability to read other people's minds and thoughts. As a result, your ability to communicate is greatly enhanced because you know what the other person is thinking about. You are then able to respond precisely to his need, which often startles and amazes him. You will be able to see his doubts, his true emotions, and so on. It is all very, very amazing. In this astral state, you also discover that everything you are seeing around you is being seen without there being any light. Here in the physical state, you cannot see anything or anybody unless there is light. If the light is turned off in the room which you are sitting, everything will become invisible to you because you need external light in order to see. But in the astral state of being, you can switch off the light and you still will be able to see everything. Everybody and everything viewed from this state of being seems to have a light of its own. They can be seen without the need of any external light. That is why, in this state, things and people are often said to be luminous and radiant. There is an internal illumination in everything and everyone. It is an extraordinary experience, and for those who have it for the first time, they think that it is the final and ultimate experience. We have found heaven, they say. We have found paradise. We have found everything. It is at this point that the teacher, the master, appears in his own radiant form and says, "I have brought you here to start the spiritual journey, not to end it,